The following is an ABC News special. What you learn tonight could change your view of the opposite sex.
Men have been wimpified. We're afraid to act like our full masculine self.
At home and at work, feminists want things neatly split.
50-50. Absolutely.
But are men and women supposed to be the same? Or are we different creatures right from birth? Watch these babies try to reach their mothers. The boys get aggressive. The girls cry for help. Eye-opening research suggests more women can read feelings. More men can read maps. Women notice fine details. Men see things in 3D. Do our differences affect our parenting?
Aren't women in general better nurturers?
No. Next question.
How about jobs that demand strength? If a woman is willing but weak, should she be hired?
People have to be given a chance.
In combat, too?
This is such a bizarre social experiment. Lives are so at risk.
Should gender influence our place in society? Some research says yes. Some people don't want you to hear about it.
This is harmful and damaging to our daughters' lives and to our mothers' lives. And I'm very angry about it.
An hour we first broadcast 3 years ago. The facts and the fiction about a very touchy subject.
Girls are boring. Boys are a pain in the butt.
Boys and girls are different. Men, women, and the sex difference with John Stossel.
Good evening. Tonight, a touchy subject. To some people, even suggesting there are differences between the sexes, beyond the obvious ones, is just unacceptable. A step backwards in the hard-fought battle for equality. But let's face it, any couple who's ever fought over the remote control or whether to stop the car to ask for directions knows that men and women just often operate differently. So where does the difference come from? If it's all bred into us by people like toy makers who steer boys toward these trucks, girls to the dolls, and by teachers, parents, employers, all the wicked influences of a sexist society, then maybe this is a social problem that needs to be fixed. But if we're born different, if we think differently because our brains are different, then trying to fix these differences will be pointless, expensive, even hurtful. So which is it? Born, bred, both? Tonight, we're going to show you evidence that we're just born different.
What's the difference between men and women, boys and girls? This girl knows about boys.
They're very, very bad.
In fact, these girls are quite clear about it.
I think boys are a pain.
And the boys know about girls.
Boring. Girls are boring.
Whoa, these are not the correct things to say. This is the age of unisex. And we all know that except for some body parts, men and women are the same, equally able to be good or bad. I learned that from the women's movement.
Every woman, join our
The movement freed us from the absurd narrowness of traditional sex roles.
But it is wretchedly boring to be with little tiny children one end of the day, the other, especially if you think that you should love it.
No longer would women be imprisoned by their role as caretaker. They could get out of the house, run for office, protect society. They could do everything.
Well, tonight has finally come for me.
And men wouldn't have to be breadwinners. We could be house husbands. We could revel in the intimacy of parenting that eluded our fathers and grandfathers. So much changed because of feminism. It's easy to forget how sexist our culture once was.
My wash is cleaner!
Any woman that can get a shirt this clean has to be loved.
This is the kind of stuff that ran when I was a kid, and we just accepted this as normal.
Who does it all? The laundry, the dishes, and tropical fishes.
Gosh, that's what mommies are for.
Of course, lots of women were working, but the message was that it wasn't natural. Better that women should stay home and celebrate the joys of having new appliances.
Me captain, you crew. First order.
With brainwashing like that, no wonder few girls had set out to be explorers or doctors or entrepreneurs.
So remember, be a good little Maxwell housewife or somebody walks the plank.
Equal pay for equal work.
What a relief the women's movement was.
Equal pay for equal work. When do we want it? Now!
Now laws were passed banning discrimination against women. Affirmative action would force companies to give women the jobs they deserve. And now we would raise boys and girls as equals. Each would be free to pursue any role, any career.
Some mommies are doctors.
Some daddies are bakers.
Equal numbers.
Yeah.
50-50.
Absolutely.
Bella Abzug was one of the movement's early leaders.
Just as many women architects, engineers.
Well, yes.
But equal numbers didn't happen. There just aren't as many female engineers and architects today. And women still earn, on average, 25% less than men. And men, well, we still aren't doing all that much around the house.
Why? Why weren't things changing more? I couldn't figure it out. I read in Ms. Magazine that it was because we were still being influenced by our sexist culture.
Busy weekend? Wish there were 10 more of you.
The ads aren't as blatantly sexist, but it's still mom doing the laundry.
Wow!
And look what the kids are still watching.
I'm Mom. I'll turn on the water. Time for dinner.
Mega tough, mega cool, mega bot. Yeah!
Even Sesame Street, the most politically correct of shows. Bert, Ernie, Grover, Elmo, almost all the strong characters are he's. And check out the toy store. The boy toys are in one section, the cars, the trucks, the weapons. And where's the girls section? Look for that sea of pink. That's where the dolls are. Obviously, sexist businessmen are still polluting the children's minds. No wonder we don't have equality between sexes. Patriarchal toy sellers, TV producers, and parents steer the kids into the stereotypical role.
That's what I was taught, and I believed it until I had kids.
We treated them the same, but they were just so different. I don't just mean my kids. You'd see it in their friends, too. The girls were, well, more civilized. They'd look you in the eye, talk to you. They cared about your feelings. The boys, well, the boys wanted to go to war. The girls cared more about playing with each other, talking, cooperating.
You'll be the princess, yes?
And they spent lots of time dressing up in frilly clothes. We didn't tell them to. They just focused on being pretty and dainty.
We're both fairies. Me and her are fairies.
There were plenty of exceptions, of course, but the pattern was clear. Kids were acting just like their stereotypes, despite our attempts at sex-neutral parenting.
I refused to give him guns. I would not be the person to arm my child, but he made guns out of carrots and cucumbers and...
We would buy them toys, the same toy.
This woman has twins. One boy, one girl.
They would just treat them differently.
You must have sent them different signals. You encouraged him to be active, her to be nurturing.
No. We gave them each trucks, and she just wouldn't play with the trucks. And he would.
Hi,
Dinah.
Then their kids joined us. Are they aware of these differences? Well, the older ones know what they're supposed to say.
There is actually no difference between girls and boys. They're actually quite similar.
But the younger kids tell a different story.
Boys are noisier.
And girls?
Yeah. The boys play a lot rougher. I'm Rocky.
So maybe toy makers aren't being sexist. Maybe they're just paying attention to their market. People who study the toy business, like advertising age columnist Kate Fitzgerald, say toy makers tried selling predominantly male toys like video games to girls, like this Barbie. But they haven't had much success. This Cabbage Patch doll for boys named Rough and Tough isn't a hit either.
And they've really tried.
Toy marketers have tried over and over. They'd make twice as much money if every toy was bought equally by girls and boys, but kids aren't buying it.
Toy companies often hire psychologists, like Dr. Selena Goober, to run tests like this one she did for us.
Okay, you look around.
She brings kids to a table of toys and lets them pick out what they want. Invariably, the boys pick action figures like Power Rangers or gross stuff like this Gak.
What would you do with it?
I would throw it in my sister's face.
The girls played with Gak too, but no one talked about throwing it. And I'm sorry, mostly they played with the makeup.
What you see on the shelves is the reality of what has worked. Girls tend to want dolls, girls want pink. Girls are more concerned with the relationships between the characters. Girls want to talk and play and be together. The toy companies have lost millions of dollars in testing and manufacturing toys that they thought would win over the opposite gender. They've only responded to what kids want.
Why are kids still acting today the way they did a generation ago? Is this behavior just innate, something in the kids? Many feminists who launched the women's movement say, no, it's the culture. And we parents are also to blame because no matter how liberated we are, we still treat our kids differently.
Even parents who are very aware, as you are, of trying not to perpetuate gender differences, still pick up and cuddle little girls more than boys. They let boys cry longer, as if to toughen them.
Sexist parenting, she says, is what makes the boys aggressive.
We badly need to raise our boys more like our girls.
If society weren't sexist, the kids would be roughly the same? The boys would nurture the dolls?
I think so. I think it would be very much more interchangeable.
What about those who say there are biological differences?
I think that's a lot of poppycock.
And yet, from the world of science, there are other voices. Quieter voices, perhaps, but a chorus of voices that are saying what parents and others, sexist or not, have been saying for years.
Men and women are not the same.
Psychologist June Reinisch is a former director of the Kinsey Institute.
Equality means that people should have equal opportunities. It doesn't mean that everybody is the same, or that we want everybody to be the same. We'd have everybody being identical and wanting to do the same things and wanting to act in the same ways. It would be devastating to our culture. Difference is good.
And the difference is real, say the scientists, and there from the beginning. It starts in the womb, where we are just biologically hardwired to be different. We'll show you why they say that after this.
Have you ever noticed? Baby girls study faces. Boys are content to look off into space. Is this why men read people better? Men, women.
Men are obsessed with sports. Women have more friends. A wife is bothered by a dripping faucet. Her husband doesn't even notice. Why? Scientists now say a lot of it comes down to chemistry. Right after the sperm meets the egg, things start to happen that just make us into different kinds of people.
You're driving me crazy.
Okay, this is right, because I remember that house. I think we turn right here.
I don't.
Well, I do. Wait a minute, I'll check it on the map. I don't think this map shows where we are at all.
Women have trouble with maps, but remember landmarks.
See, don't you remember those rocks down there?
No, I don't.
Men won't ask for directions.
We could ask this guy.
He doesn't know where we're going.
If these differences are just stereotypes, why does this sound so familiar?
Yes. No, we shouldn't be going this way.
Today's science suggests there's a biological reason why we fight over directions. Our brains are different. Most men navigate through a vague sense of north and south and distance travel. Women usually rely on landmarks. We know about these differences thanks to studies like the one done at the University of Rochester, repeated here for our camera. Students are blindfolded and then walk through the maze of tunnels that run underneath the campus. The experimenter stays behind them and guides them with a tap on the shoulder so they don't run into anybody. When the women are asked where a college building is,
can you tell me where Wilson Commons is?
They're not so sure.
That way?
Men, however, retained a sense of what direction they'd moved.
Go through the next doors, take a left, then a right, then a left.
Women, on the other hand, have a better memory for detail. Check out this test.
Have a chair here.
At York University in Toronto, students are asked to wait in a cluttered room while an experimenter gets something ready. Actually, though the student doesn't know it, this is the experiment. How much of the room will she remember? After 2 minutes, the experimenter moves her to another room and asks her.
Tell me every object in that room that you can remember.
Women typically give answers like this.
On the right-hand side of the desk right here was a briefcase with your initials at the top. Then there was a toque with mitts and an IM40 button on it. In the middle, there was envelopes, York University envelopes. There was a thing of Clearasil and a Bazooka Joe comic.
We could let her go on much longer.
A thing of perfume. There were scissors and a stapler here.
Remember just about everything in the room.
There's those 2-pound puppy dogs.
Many of the women did. I find this amazing, but, of course, I'm a man, and we men don't do very well on this test.
I remember pound puppies.
It was like right here. I don't have a very good memory.
Men and women consistently perform differently. Why would sex make a difference? Well, at conception, we begin life as the same clump of cells, except for the Y chromosome in the male. Certain hormones must be added for that clump of cells to turn out male. Scientists now say that those same hormones make men's brains different. That could explain why our behavior is different. Research on animals showed this years ago. At UCLA, Dr. Roger Gorski found that when female rats, like the white one here, were given the male hormone testosterone, they acted like male rats. They mounted other rats, trying to mate. At the University of Wisconsin, researchers injected testosterone into female monkeys while they were still in the womb. Now, monkeys engage in very sex stereotype behavior. The males are much more aggressive. They fight, play rough, just like little boys, while the females do all the grooming and nurturing of the children. But when the females that were injected with the testosterone grew up, they didn't groom or nurture the kids. They fought. They behaved just like the males. Now, these monkeys aren't watching sexist TV or going to toy stores. Their sexist behavior is innate. Of course, animals aren't people, and what's true for them may not be true for us. How could we find out if hormones have the same effect on people? It would be unethical to run experiments. But sometimes experiments just happen naturally. In about 1 out of every 10,000 pregnancies, a genetic defect causes female babies to be accidentally exposed to a bath of the male hormone androgen. They're called CAH girls, short for congenital adrenal hyperplasia. The children are born female. Michelle Spacek, for example. Today, she's happily married and a mother. But all her life, she says she felt different from the other girls.
When I was young, I was a tomboy, I think. I didn't play with dolls. What I see girls doing now, that wasn't me.
If this is a sexist world, then these CAH girls get all the sexist messages other girls get. Yet they don't act like the other girls. There's something in them that's innately male.
I like to split wood. I've target practiced with my husband's guns. I've always been interested in cars.
Girls with CAH are female.
Dr. Sherry Barenbaum has studied hundreds of CAH girls, giving them toy preference tests, like the one we showed you earlier with non-CAH kids.
And we compared the CAH girls to their sisters. And we found that the CAH girl much more with the boys' toys than their sisters. And it showed that hormones affect sex differences in behavior, not just in rats, not just in monkeys, but in people also.
Another thing that suggests men and women are born with built-in differences is that many of them show up so early in life, before the culture could have much effect.
When you talk about sex differences...
Child psychologist Michael Lewis finds differences in 1-year-olds when he runs a test separating a child from its mother. Most boys try to knock the barrier down. Most girls just stand there and cry for help. June Reinisch studied data on thousands of baby girls and boys and concluded there were inborn differences.
Girls sat up without support earlier than boys did. Boys crawled independently away from their caretaker earlier than girls.
One could still argue, of course, that these sex differences happen because of some very early form of sexist parenting. But then how do you explain behavior differences in newborns?
So when they look at babies in the first 72 hours of life, they find that males and females are not identical in the way they behave. Males startle more than females. If you give a puff of air on their abdomen, they startle much bigger and much more likely to startle than females. And females rhythmically mouth. They suck on their tongues, they move their lips and so forth more than males do.
So could it be that when we treat kids differently, cuddle the girls, toss the boys into the air, that we're not just being sexist? Maybe we're responding to inborn cues from the kids. Of course, if boys and girls are different because of biology, wouldn't the differences show up in research on the brain? Well, recently researchers have found differences in men's and women's brains. This is frozen brain tissue that Dr. Laura Allen's been studying at UCLA.
As I began to look at the human brain more and more, I kept finding differences. And about 7 or 8 out of 10 structures that we actually measured turned out to be different between men and women.
These differences, says Dr. Allen, are most likely due to sex hormones we're exposed to in the womb.
Testosterone kind of rides a roller coaster until birth. We know the first rise of testosterone causes the development of the male sex organs. We don't know what the second rise of testosterone does. I suspect it causes our brains to be different.
Just want you to keep your eyes closed.
And with the help of this scanner, which records brain activity, scientists now also know that men and women use different parts of their brains when thinking about the same things.
You plug the numbers in for the variables?
All these differences could explain why women have better verbal skills, while some studies show men excel at math.
-2.
Evolution suggests theories as to why our brains are different. For 4 million years, men and women did very different things, says anthropologist Helen Fisher.
Women did all the gathering and collecting tiny seeds and tiny berries.
This may explain why today women have better fine motor skills. And why boys do so well on video games. Evolution led males to excel at mentally seeing things in 3 dimensions.
We see a great many more men who are architects, who are engineers, who are chess players. And more than likely, men choose those because they are, on average, more skilled at all kinds of spatial tasks. Men are better at throwing balls, throwing sticks, throwing stones. All of these spatial, quantitative, visual skills probably come from millions of years on the grasslands of Africa when men set out every morning to track and to surround and to fell their prey and then to sort of pick their way back home. Those that didn't do that died out.
Those who did survived to become our ancestors. Evolution also suggests that women really may be better parents, better nurturers. Certainly, if you look at animals, you see, it's almost always the female who does all the nurturing of the young. Experts say it may be that human females are better equipped for that task, too.
Taking care of young babies is something that maybe women are biologically somewhat more designed for, in some small ways. Their sensitivity to small changes and stimuli.
Women, she says, have better proximal senses, like sensitivity to sound. A drip that drives a woman crazy is often hardly noticeable to a man. Reinisch says this sensitivity may explain why women are better at understanding a baby's needs and good at reading people's emotions.
Just by a slight change in body posture or tone of voice, a woman will know that somebody is uncomfortable or they're angry. This probably comes from millions of years of looking at their small baby that didn't tell them what they wanted, and by visually just picking up all these nonverbal cues, establishing what the baby needed.
All this science suggests that men and women are just innately different, that it's not just our sexist culture at work, it's biology. Gloria Steinem doesn't believe it. In fact, she says this research shouldn't even be done.
It's really the remnant of anti-American crazy thinking to do this kind of research. It's what's keeping us down, not what's helping us.
And feminist lawyer Gloria Allred says we shouldn't even be doing this program about it.
We take attacks from the media on our skills and our abilities and our talents and our dreams very seriously. This is not just entertainment. This is harmful and damaging to our daughters' lives and to our mothers' lives. And I'm very angry about it.
Attitudes like that led colleagues to advise Dr. Allen, don't do this kind of research.
I was told that it just really wasn't a good idea because it was politically provocative.
Other scientists have given up the research. One was refused a grant and told, this work ought not to be done. But shouldn't we always try to learn about human nature? Those who do the research say it's important.
We must study things that are not necessarily fashionable and try to educate people so that they don't misuse the information.
Misuse the information. That could happen. But right now, maybe it's a lack of information that's led us in some wrong directions. Today, there are elaborate and expensive government policies based on the fiction that men and women are interchangeable, that we bring the exact same skills and aptitudes to the table. What happens when you try to force society to organize itself around a fiction? We'll look at that when we return.
The great haircut debate. Her styling and his. Why does she pay more? A gender gap that women are fighting. Should there be a law? More about men, women, and the sex difference coming up. Move over, men. Women are wearing the uniform, joining the line of fire. But are you at risk as they climb the ladder? Men, women, and the sex difference continues after this from our ABC stations.
You've seen Andy mad, but you never see him like this.
I apologize for using that word about your father.
An unforgettable NYPD Blue, ABC Tuesday.
From Channel 7 ABC, this is a news update.
President Clinton made history today, but it is not the kind for which the Commander-in-Chief would like to be remembered. We'll have details on today's deposition in the sexual harassment case. And a call by a referee sends soccer fans into a frenzy. We'll show you what happened. Plus, Seinfeld is, of course, calling it quits, but will there be a spin-off? We'll have that answer at 11 o'clock.
Round Table has always offered honest, great-tasting pizzas. Like our large double pepperoni pizza for just $10.99. Round Table, the last honest pizza.
The law is clear. 2 federal judges told Governor Wilson he's wrong. Wrong because he refuses to negotiate with all California tribes. Newspapers are also calling on the governor to negotiate. Indian gaming is ending poverty and welfare on reservations and creating 15,000 non-Indian jobs. End the controversy. It's time for Governor Wilson to negotiate. Join Californians concerned about fairness. Call 1-800-222-0113.
It's your own little world. You're way up high, so you can see everything. It has lots of places to hide your treasures. It's roomy. It's cozy, with space for all your favorite things and your favorite people. It makes you feel like you're part of a club. Dodge Caravan. It's like a treehouse for grown-ups. Now get up to $1,000 cash back on Dodge Caravan.
Protect your portfolio from the Far East financial crisis, Sunday at 9:30.
This ABC special continues with John Stossel.
I can understand why some feminist leaders just don't want research about gender differences talked about. Not long ago, similar research was used to keep women out of colleges and to keep women out of all kinds of important jobs, defending the country, for example.
Yes, during World War II, the government did relax its rules to allow thousands of women into the military. But this documentary shows the condescension they faced.
They did a tremendous job. They also made quite an improvement in our parades.
Women underwent regular training, but in skirts, and they were rarely allowed to even try out for important combat jobs.
Get out here, go blue, go blue.
Today, women train pretty much like the men, and they can participate in most, but not all, combat jobs.
Is understood? Sergeant, get subject!
That's not enough, says Gloria Steinem, because women are just as capable of combat as men.
Women are in combat positions every day in the street. I think what they don't want us to do is to learn how to use guns. I think that, suppose every underpaid waitress and battered wife had 2 years of military training. It'd be very interesting.
But many people argue that women are just not strong enough and violent enough for combat. The Presidential Commission debated the issue. One of the majority who concluded that women were not qualified was Kate O'Byrne of the Heritage Foundation.
How can you say they're not qualified? Modern warfare today is pulling a trigger, pressing a button on a computer. Women can do that as well or better than men.
The real physical demands of combat troops and units remain the same as they have been since warfare began. It's a very heavy business. Victory goes to the strongest and the swiftest.
And women are not fast and strong?
There's not one world-class sport where the best female athletes compete with the best male athletes.
Tests do show that on average, men have twice as much upper body strength as women. So to allow the services to admit more women, the military relaxed the strength tests required. For example, men must now do 42 push-ups, women just 18. Gender norming, they call it.
Yes, you can find some examples where strength and speed are important, but they are clearly a minority.
Not within the military, it's not a minority. I mean, it's the whole reason for existence. The military isn't a unique institution. They're not making widgets. when women really can't quite carry that 85-pound pack all the way back on the forced march, the guys pitch in and help.
The women add things that the women do well. They work together.
It's a problem if one guy's got to now carry 2 packs.
I'm not hearing a lot of these complaints from officers now. The military seems ready to try.
The gender police are patrolling the corridors of the Pentagon. If you express your opinion, you're a hop, skip, and a jump from a sexual harasser. You're putting women down. You're opposed to women's rights.
Lay the weapon down! Lay the weapon down!
This is such a bizarre social experiment. Lives are so at risk. You don't get extra points in the battle for having fielded the fairest army. Now, it's kill or be killed.
The killing business is for men.
Combat is a manly pursuit, correct?
Then what is firefighting? Is this a manly pursuit too? For years, firemen said it was, and until 20 years ago, they did not even allow women the chance to compete for these jobs. The fact that today many strong women fight fires and do well shows how unfair it was to have a blanket policy that excluded all women. But does equal opportunity mean we must also force departments to hire a certain number of women? Firefighters need to be strong. On the strength tests given applicants, women just don't do as well as men. That doesn't matter, said a judge in San Francisco. The department must do what the bureaucrats call a reach down. Instead of simply hiring applicants who do best on the qualification test, you reach down to women who score lower.
People's attitudes have got to change about who a firefighter is. That, who is it? Who was that guy that in Towering Inferno? That Steve McQueen, gorgeous man, all right, but white, right? That Steve McQueen with his blue eyes is the only person who can haul you out of a building. It's not true. Some training and some time and put aside my law books, could probably learn to haul you out of a building. And if I thought you were going to die, if I didn't, I think I'd do pretty well. The point is, people have to be given a chance.
Well, men and women were given a chance to pass the fire department's tests, but women didn't do very well. The Los Angeles Fire Department secretly made this tape of women applicants struggling in training. The department wants firefighters to be able to climb over a wall. This requires upper body strength many women just don't have. Likewise, firefighters need to be able to use an axe to chop through a door. They train on logs. The men can split them, but the women often cannot. Some of the women who can don't want to work with these women.
The equipment required to do our job is heavy. The average woman does not have the strength to do this job.
Veteran firefighter Julie Wolf testified in favor of strict strength tests. The department says it made the tape to protect itself from lawsuits. And it's reasonable to expect such suits. Most every big city has been hit with discrimination suits. It's just the kind of case that feminist lawyer Gloria Allred likes to bring.
This tape was done to ward off people like you, who are going to bankrupt the county with lawsuits claiming that women...
Well, if there's discrimination against women, then they have options. I say doing nothing is no longer acceptable. You should fight back. And I think that the women who do so deserve a medal rather than criticism.
Some fire departments settled the lawsuits by making admission requirements easier. For example, getting rid of the mile-and-a-half run or easing some of the strength tests.
How is America better off if the real physical demands of a job have to be watered down to accommodate women? If I, as an all-suffering taxpayer, have to be evacuated from a building, I used to be carried by a male firefighter. I am now dragged by my ankles as my head hits every single stair going down 3 stories. I preferred being carried. I assume most taxpayers preferred being carried.
It's better to drag them out because there's less smoke down there. I mean, we're probably killing people by carrying them out at that height, you know. So, I mean, we need to look sensibly here at these jobs and what they really require, and not just some idea of what macho is.
The men in the fire department say the women aren't strong enough. They've had to change the test.
Well, that's all right. Institutions have to adjust. If there are still physical problems which prevent certain activities, those activities should be assisted so that in a way, with technology, so that it's possible.
They should give them an electric axe.
Whatever is required.
Is that what equal opportunity means? And if it is that good policy? And who pays for it? Well, you know the answer to that. You do.
Ever shop at Sears? If you bought something here, you should know that some of your dollar went to pay for the years of litigation between Sears and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The EEOC sued Sears, saying the fact that so many more men than women held high-commission sales jobs, selling lawnmowers and appliances, for example, was proof that Sears discriminated.
So this is a good machine. It's only $288.
Sears said, we didn't discriminate. We ask women to do those jobs. It's just that few women want to sell things like lawnmowers.
You're welcome.
After the EEOC was unable to produce any women who said they'd been discriminated against, Sears won the suit. But the $20 million the litigation cost was passed on to us customers.
Totals $160.56.
Legal fees have also been passed on to you if you or your kids have taken an SAT test. Boys do better on those tests, especially in math. So lawyers from the ACLU said there have to be changes. The test was biased against girls. That denies girls their fair share of national merit scholarships.
So what should they do to the test?
It's up to the Office for Civil Rights to decide exactly how the scholarship should be distributed, what the fairest way will be.
Not all girls were happy about the suit. Jennifer Horn won the merit scholarship several years ago. She says they shouldn't change the test.
I don't think it would do anything positive for girls. Maybe the scores would be better, but then boys will be able to turn around. Well, the reason girls are doing better is because we just changed the test for them.
Luria Allred says we need more equality lawsuits.
We should have more lawsuits?
Yes, more lawsuits, until the day when we enjoy equal rights with men.
She and others sued clothing stores that charge men less for alterations, and dry cleaners. Some charge more to clean women's blouses.
Women's shirts, 50 cents more.
Frightened dry cleaners quickly changed their policy, though privately they argue they should charge women more, because women's clothes take more time, and women are more demanding, they say. This is consistent with the scientific research that shows women have better proximal senses, like a more acute sense of touch and better close-up vision.
Women see the spot. Men don't even know there's a spot.
Well, it may be, because I think I can smell sexism more than you can.
Oh, yes, and lawyers smell sexism all the time. If you cut hair and charge women more than men, watch out.
Women in the district have been victims of illegal price differentials, and we feel...
These law students filed human rights complaints against salons that charge more for women's haircuts. It was a good class project, said their professor, John Banzaf.
Now the salons hire a lawyer?
The salons could hire lawyers and either together or separately try to fight us in a hearing, but our law in the district is so clear. It says you cannot justify a different price for men and women, even if you can show that it costs you more.
Even if it is true that it takes longer to cut women's hair, it's still illegal?
It's pretty much as plain and simple. You cannot charge more for the same service.
No exceptions?
Not unless you run out of business.
But then the only way to prove it would be to go out of business.
That's what the statute says.
I guess it's just too bad for the salons. They could fight back, but if your profit's a few dollars per haircut, who can afford thousands of dollars to pay a lawyer?
You're such a bully. Why must all salons charge what you say they should charge?
Let me turn the question around. Why can't a nightclub charge blacks twice as much as whites?
But there are real differences between men and women that there aren't between whites and blacks.
Hairstylists say it simply takes longer to do most women's hair.
It takes longer, and it just women are more hysteria about their hair. It's as simple as that.
The answer is our legislature passed the statute, our agency enforces it, we're simply enforcing the law.
It seems everyone's enforcing equality these days.
I felt sad, and the teacher said...
In East Windsor, New Jersey, the principal of this school wouldn't allow this little boy to pass out birthday invitations in school because he didn't invite the girls.
I went in the coat closet, and I was crying a little bit, and then I felt really bad.
All these rules protecting women's rights have brought us more grouping men's rights.
Men are definitely being screwed, and
many men were angry about the women's movement anyway.
Don't we deserve to be pushed back a bit?
See, that's one of the real problems.
Haven't we acted like pigs for thousands of years?
I don't think so. Men have been wimpified and beaten over the head so much, we're afraid to act like our full masculine self.
There's irony here. These men's rights advocates are furious that in child custody cases, judges favor the mothers. Fathers get custody only 14% of the time. So here, it's convenient for the men's rights advocates to agree with Gloria Steinem. We're all equal.
Aren't women in general better nurturers?
No. Next question.
Aren't women better mothers, better nurturers?
Fathers and mothers are both equal good parents.
Evolution shows that women have done most of the mothering.
That is a myth. That is a myth.
But evolution suggests it's not a myth, that women may be more intense, loving parents. They're certainly less likely to abandon the kids. It's we men who most often do that. So maybe it's right that the judges favor mothers. And considering men's strength and spatial skills, maybe it's right that most architects and football players are men. And because of women's superior verbal and people skills, maybe it's all right that so many pediatricians are women, that most real estate agents and teachers are women.
Very good. 1/2.
Maybe women are biologically different. Your brains work differently. Maybe you're not as good in math. Why sue me because of that? We're all paying for your lawsuits.
Women have a right to be angry. They have a right to go to court, to vindicate their rights. They have a right to get elected to public office, to make the public policy so that they will not be deprived of their rights.
And if they don't get elected, you're going to file a suit demanding they be elected?
I think we should do each and every act which is necessary and appropriate to protect our rights and the rights of our daughters.
Whew. Well, I want to protect my daughter's rights too, but suing every time things aren't neatly equal, is that the way to go? We're going to coerce people to behave the way the social engineers say we should? Is that what America should be about? Perhaps instead of arguing about our differences, we should honor them, reorder society based on our very different strengths. We'll consider that next. If the science is right about men and women being different in so many ways, then what do we do with that information? Again, I can see why some feminists don't even want this discussed. Over the years, the difference has been used to hold women back, to say, yeah, women don't belong in business, politics, that's men's work. But why must difference mean anyone should be excluded, their choices limited?
Instead, the researchers point out that knowledge about differences can give people more choice.
On the other hand, there are so many good social implications. We may alter our educational strategies to be more understanding of the way boys and girls are.
Take math, for example.
Okay, which numbers, girls?
This high school in Presque Isle, Maine is one of a number that now has math classes tailored for girls. And the girls work in groups because research suggests girls learn better this way. Collaborate, talking problems out.
Add the 2 on, 4x plus 6. You get it? You get it? Yep. Good.
Some girls at this school who once said they hated math are now in advanced math classes.
Perhaps we can provide female ways of teaching math so that we get more great mathematicians. Female ways of teaching engineering so we get more female engineers, and physics and so forth. So it provides a way of giving people more opportunity.
Opportunity, equal opportunity. Isn't that what America should be about? And recognizing differences needn't limit anyone's opportunity.
In fact, when you look at the science, you find all kinds of traditionally men's professions that might be better suited to women.
And America's first woman astronaut.
Certainly for astronauts, women would be better. They need less food, they need less oxygen per pound than men do. We're more efficient.
And women are better at language.
With hope. Good morning.
I think that the next century is going to be filled with jobs for women. We're going to see more women as lawyers. Women have a natural ability at arbitration. If you take a look at chimpanzees, it's the females that are constantly keeping the peace. And I think that we'll see many more women as politicians.
Given that we men haven't done a great job keeping the peace, maybe more women should be our political leaders.
The world is in chaos. The world is, at the moment, is going through a global nervous breakdown, truthfully.
Because of us men?
Well, you are the guys doing it. We're not in charge.
Why are so many of us men in charge? Is there a biological reason? You no longer need physical strength to lead the tribe. But men's aggressiveness leads us to do other things to become leaders. If getting elected means leaving your kids to kiss other people's kids, maybe testosterone leads men to kiss more babies, or whatever, to shake more hands with less sense of embarrassment than women. Of Of course, if testosterone helps us get the job, it doesn't necessarily help us do it well. Perhaps women, with their superior skills at reading character, would do it better. Acknowledging differences doesn't mean the women's movement was wrong or should be reversed. Why would we want to go back to the days when women were excluded from making all the contributions they make now? When few men got involved with nurturing their children? Aren't we all better off when everyone is allowed the freedom to choose what we want to be? Thank God for the women's movement. Finally, a point about people. We keep saying men are more this, women that, but none of this means much for any individual. People vary so much that individual differences are often much greater than the differences between the sexes. Remember that experiment that showed the little girls cry out when separated from their mothers, while boys bash into the barrier or try to go around it? Well, the day we taped, it happened that we saw only the exceptions. Of the 5 children we taped, every child that just stood there and cried was a boy. It was the girls who fought to get through.
There's always the girl who loves the gun or the truck, and there's always the boy who loves the tea set. And so we can't make predictions for individuals, but it sure looks like there are clear differences.
So why not celebrate them rather than deny that they exist? Why not let people's natural inclinations take them wherever their potential allows? Furthermore, if we deny what science knows about human nature, how can we create sensible social policies? Isn't it better to act on the basis of what is true rather than maintaining it has no right to be true? We'll be back in a moment.
Halle Berry and Lynn Whitfield star in the television event of the season. Oprah Winfrey presents The Wedding, coming in February to ABC.
That's our updated program for tonight. Researchers say the more we learn about gender differences, the more it'll help men and women communicate. It might also help us parents feel less guilty if our daughters obsess over clothes or our sons turn everything into guns. In any case, I think the main point is that men and women may be created equal, but we're not the same. Next week at this time, join Peter Jennings for the premiere of ABC News Saturday night. The first broadcast is live from Havana, Cuba. I'm John Stossel. For all of us at ABC News, good night.